A peer-reviewed study stated that adults who were homeschooled are tolerant of others' viewpoints, even when they disagree. And compared to peers who were not homeschooled, they are higher to openness to experience. There is a common myth that homeschoolers will not be able to integrate well in adulthood, but studies done by people such as Professor Michael H. Romanowski and research expert Brian D. Ray would say otherwise. Hi, my name is Cassandra Lewis, and you're listening to the Life is Beautiful podcast, the podcast where we cover many aspects of life in order to fulfill your own. On today's episode, you'll get to meet a 26-year-old by the name of Kelila Bailey, who is a dear friend of mine, and also someone who had been homeschooled throughout her whole education. Kelila, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. I'm doing great. Just to kind of start off, what did a typical school day look like for you and your siblings?
Okay, so we did have a schedule. Our mom, she was set on having a schedule. She wanted us to have some time outside, so it was a set in the morning, 8:30, you'd be in class, you'd let her speak and teach you, and then we'd get out around 2:30, I'd say.
And you said you would go outside and play and do that kind of thing?
Yeah, play, ride our bikes. We played this game 2x4, which was pretty much the same as hide and go seek, but it was where two people would hide and run, and they'd have to tag however many people they could get, and whoever was last standing won.
I love how you can just have the freedom to go and do things. If there's a day that you want to go do something instead of school, you can get caught up the next day, or you can even double up over the summer. But yeah, I love the freedom about that. That's really fun. Many skeptics fear that homeschoolers will not integrate well into adulthood. What would you have to say to that?
In my experience, I think if I had went to public school, I probably wouldn't have the confidence that I do now, because I feel like you don't get that one-on-one time. When we struggled with okay, let's talk about our appearances or how we fit in with this group or whatever, you could go and have one-on-one with your parents and have them explain it, biblically, and tell you about their experience and how they struggle with that as well. Whereas school, I feel like they just send you, to somebody who just considers that kind of more of a job rather than, fighting for your soul. Your parents, who's better than your parents to fight for you because they had you and they're your number one fans. And growing up, I did struggle with my self-appearance very much so. And I used to think a lot about maybe I wouldn't be here. I couldn't see a future for me because I just didn't want to go on anymore. And so that was hard, but being able to talk to my mother and having her there 24/7, to walk alongside and be like, it doesn't matter about the outward beauty as much as the heart. And it's so true, because that has made me a compassionate person, and it has made me put myself aside when I really didn't want to sometimes and reach out to other people who are struggling with deeper and tougher things than, I have.
When you're at home, you do have those parents who deeply care for you, and especially not just how you're doing academically, but how you're doing emotionally and spiritually. How would you say you're doing in adulthood right now?
I feel like I'm doing better than I ever could imagined. I take walks a lot. I like doing that to clear my head and talk to God. I mean, some people probably see my lips moving while I walk and think, oh my goodness, this person is crazy. But, for me, talking to God and thanking Him for where He has gotten me and what He's given me, I started, though it may be small, I started my own cleaning business. And I have to pinch myself almost daily. That would never have been me. I was shy. I never thought I would ever want to work around people, much less by myself. And here I am. I love people. I love going out and meeting new people as well, which again is not like me at all. But my mom kind of pushed for that. She never went over the top, but she was like, showing God is reaching out to other people, and you do need to get out there, and you can't just hide in the house and think that being introverted can work. So as far as life goes, I feel like I am out there quite a lot, but not in a way that is displeasing to God, because of course that's number one.
What's your business called?
I haven't given it a name because I kind of don't want it to get too big. If the Lord has for it to get bigger, I'm thinking I would have it maybe something detailed cleaning or something. I'm not sure. I haven't really thought about the name.
When did you start it?
I actually started, I want to say it was August, the end of August, yeah.
Wow, how's it going so far?
Pretty good. I'm booked every day of the week, and
Wow.
I'm sure some people would want me on a Saturday or Sunday, but I know that I need to keep some of my sanity, so I have said no to the weekends.
That's amazing. What gave you the want to start your own business instead of working for someone else?
Honestly, it has been a hidden dream of mine for quite a while. There were some things that when I worked for other companies, I didn't feel valued. And if you needed a raise, you couldn't. For one, we worked on a farm and it was a lot of hard work. Anyone that's worked on a farm would know that. And the pay was never great. You worked like from sun up to sundown, it felt, and you just never had enough to make ends meet. And I thought, when you're your own boss, you kind of make your own rules and you have your own standards and you can make your own hours. And I really like that.
I think it's cool how I think entrepreneurs have to have such a good way of keeping track of what they're doing and being able to be on top of things by themselves because they don't have anyone to listen to. They have to do that all for themselves. That's, wow, good for you.
Thank you.
Has homeschooling helped or hindered your transition into adulthood?
I would definitely say homeschool has helped. For one, it definitely taught me to keep pushing when it gets tough. I remember I would cry through math lessons in math class and be like, I'm never going to get it. And I remember my mom and my dad both saying, you're going to get it. Keep working at it, keep going. And I feel like that has helped in life because sometimes I feel like just giving up. And it's like, you know what? No, you can do this with God. Keep going, keep pushing, keep fighting. So definitely has helped 100%. I really don't think I would be where I am today without homeschooling.
Do you think it kind of helped bring out perseverance in you?
I definitely would. I mean, if anything, being in a family of 6 kids who knew each other very well from the beginning and you're in a class together and okay, there was no bullying by no means, but we could get on each other's nerves and we could just get under the skin. And to have that, I feel like also made you strong. It made you have a backbone. And because it was also done through love. You never felt like you were bullied to the point where you just would never amount to anything or that they were making fun of you. You knew deep down inside it wasn't that. And
sibling squabbles.
Yeah, and it's nothing compared to bullying. That's another thing that I don't like about the school system is the bullying. That really would have ruined me for sure.
If you could go back and you had the choice to be homeschooled or instead go to a private or public school, would you stay homeschooled?
Yes, I would 100% stay homeschooled. And if the Lord blesses me with my own family, I would love to homeschool them as well.
Do you think you got the necessary education that you need?
Yes, I do feel so. Even in college, like I remember going for 1 year because I had to pull out because of finances. And I remember going there and the teacher came to me, it was a math class, and he said, "You're doing really well." And it looked like I was like the only one doing really well.
Wow.
Because another thing in public school is you don't have that one-on-one time. You just don't. Or if you flunked a lesson of math or a test, our parents would be there, to help you with the actual problems you were having in that lesson instead of like, kind of looking over you. It's a whole class of like maybe 20 or more kids in public school. It's kind of hard to give them all their individual attention, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, when you're homeschooled, it's like you're having your own personal tutor every day.
Yeah, it really is. And it's so helpful because I love math now and I used to hate it.
Wow. Wow. How did that come to be?
Well, I think for me, once I got the concept of math, like from the very core of it, then it was like problems to solve. I really like that. I really like solving problems. And so like when you finally got like the core of it and you saw yourself, oh, wow, I'm passing test after test. And, there were still some flunks along the way as well, but it got better and better. And I just, I like solving and I like using my brain. I like word puzzles, all that stuff. Anything to use your brain, I really like.
Would you advise parents to homeschool their children?
Yes, I 100% would.
What would be your reasons behind that?
One of the reasons off the top of my head are how a lot of homeschoolers, at least in our family, can mingle with people who are older. And I feel like a lot of older people have a lot of wisdom. I've learned a lot from older people, and I feel like the public school is just producing kids who want to hang out with, their age group or they have like cliques. There's the cool kids, the not so cool kids. We all know that. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell you again how many older people in my life have helped me. Honestly, a lot of older people are my good friends. It's quite funny because I don't have very many people who are my friends like around the age I am. And I'm okay with that. I mean, our generation probably looks at that as weird, but I look at it as blessed for sure.
It's funny you should say that because I actually wrote a paper on homeschooling for an English comp class. And one of the things they said was, instead of kids who are homeschooling being socially awkward, they're actually able to adapt to talking to not only their peers, but also adults, people younger than them. They're not this exclusive, this is only your peers, this is who you're comfortable with, because they're not in a classroom, they're out in the world all the time, they're taking field trips, they're talking to their older, younger parents, siblings, all the time. And I mean, you're just a living testimony of, look, homeschoolers can do so well in the world. They're not confined. They're not socially awkward.
Kelila Bailey is just one of many homeschoolers who have integrated so well in adulthood. And her advice for someone who may be doing the same, whether they're homeschooled or not, would be,
find something you're good at and keep practicing. Don't let that fall to the side, no matter what you decide. No matter if you want to go to college, that's great, but definitely pursue what you're good at.
Like Franklin D. Roosevelt said, we cannot always build the future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future. Today we learned that homeschoolers not only integrate well in adulthood, but can thrive in this season of life. No matter the education a person receives, we must not be quick to judge, because you never know what lessons you can learn from someone. Thank you so much for listening to the Life is Beautiful podcast. You can find us on platforms such as Amazon Music, Spotify, or my YouTube channel, Sanj Lewis. We'll see you next time.